I have a lot of things to say before starting the show.
Okay, I'm ready.
First thing first, CBC podcasts.
Okay.
I did my research, Lance, and I was half wrong and half right.
Okay.
There's no ads on the website, so I lied when they said there was some ads on the website. However, I found their RSS feed, and when I reached the URL from my machine, like in Montreal, I got the Gouvernement du Québec ads. But when I used a VPN from somewhere else, I got totally different ads. So CBC is serving us different ads.
So, okay, that's pretty conclusive. Different ads, really?
Yeah, so
I wonder what their like granularity. I mean,
my guess is that, so since it's a Canadian thing, my guess would be that every province get different ads and other countries, like in one block, different ads.
yeah.
That'd be my guess.
That's pretty cool. It's a good way to like target an audience.
Yeah.
If there's not a startup that exists for doing exactly this,
I'm
then
sure
we should start it.
I really don't want to be one of those creepy company, you know?
I mean, that does no gathering. That does no data gathering. Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
it does zero gathering. So, I mean, I don't mind so much.
Okay, that's fair. So
Like, there's 0% mining.
So do you want to do a new company?
No, I'm busy enough as it is.
All right, so that was my first lie-ish.
Lie?
Well, I said there was
okay.
ads on the
yeah,
website.
okay.
It was a lie. So the second lie was that we said that RevGrep doesn't have backtracking. Looked into it, and what they don't have is look ahead and look behind,
Okay,
which is not the
yeah.
same thing. So last 2 weeks ago, I confused look ahead, look behind with backtracking, which is not the same thing.
I think the point still stands that like
Yeah, some features are harder to do in a performant way than others.
Yeah.
That was my second
Cool.
lie. Are you ready for my third lie?
oh my gosh, I am ready.
Okay. I was super happy yesterday. So we actually received our real first email.
I know, I saw that. It was pretty great.
What I got out of this email is that we're super great, but I said a lot of lies at the end of the show.
Oh, I probably supported all of your lies.
Yes, absolutely. So you just said yes, but I was wrong. I went back to my high school math classes on Wolfram Alpha, and I realized that factorial is so not close to an exponential. So thank you for that person that sent us an email to tell me that my maths were totally wrong. And yeah, when I said factorial, I really didn't understand what I was saying.
But when you did say factorial, you did like
I was
you
wrong.
did mean it.
No, so it was not factorial.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also on Wolfram Alpha, I learned that a negative factorial is really weird. So that was my learning.
Ooh, tell me about that.
You should go take a look, but I actually don't know how to explain it because every like two numbers, it really cut. Like every like odd numbers, I guess. In the negative side, it got like goes down and after it goes up. Like
Oh, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Just because of the double negative.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So
But wait, does a negative factorial go like minus, like it trends towards zero? Like it stops at zero? How does that work? Like
it's like
what's minus 5 factorial?
I don't know. Let me...
No, but like what? How do you expand that?
You should go take a look, but it looks like the positive one, but it like flip every other number. As you can guess, I don't know much about mathematics, so I don't have the right words to explain this.
Okay, hold on. So like, I guess like I also not that I suck at mathematics. I mean, I guess to a mathematics expert, I probably suck. What's the like definition of a factorial? Does it include? Okay, so the Wikipedia page, first sentence says the factorial of a positive integer is the product of all positive integers less than or equal to n It can be extended to non-integer arguments. Okay, that's not what we want. But it's undefined when x is a negative integer.
Oh, interesting. So I guess
Non-extendability to negative integers.
so Wolfram Alpha was lying to me.
Okay, so the definition, which is like n exclamation n bang, like n factorial is equal to n times n minus 1 factorial. There's recursion there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently you can invert it so it could apply to negative integers, but at some point you end up with a divide by 0. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. I've never come across that factorial of a negative integer, so it doesn't matter at all. I guess like you would never do it, right?
No, just it looked funny, I guess.
Weird. So maybe there's no like disclaimer. And oh wait, is it like order of operations that's messing up?
I have no idea what you're saying.
It was the order of operations. If you do -5 in parentheses factorial, you get a complex infinity. Really? So, but oh no. But you said that it inverts, right?
Well, I don't say that. I say that I saw that on Wolfram Alpha yesterday.
But if I'm on Wolfram Alpha now, I do -4 factorial, and it gives me -24. So definitely not the odd thing. Weird. Okay, so I guess it's just not defined. I don't know what you saw, Jay.
Just write.
Just add on to the add on to the list of lies.
Look. Just write X bang on Wolfram Alpha. So do you see it?
Oh, is it that you can't do -1? You can't do -1 factorial. Oh no, you can. Or is it that if you approach negative? Anyway, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Maybe we should let someone correct us.
If anyone knows anything about mathematics, please help us.
Yeah, teach us.
All right, so that was a long pre-show. You're listening to Randomly Typed. I'm JS.
Hi, JS. I'm Lance.
You're Lance, indeed. Today, I chose a topic that's a bit less theoretical than last week. Well, it was not super theoretical, but even less. So we'll be talking about SS7, which stands for Signaling System 7. Does it sound any bell to you, Lance?
I have never, ever heard of this. I've never seen the acronym. No one's ever said those words to me, ever.
Okay. It's the protocol used for telephone communication.
Oh, like switch networks and
stuff? Yes, exactly. So it's
okay.
It's the protocol between like the big networks. And I guess they use it internally also, but it's not the one you use when you call someone.
Oh, okay.
I guess you can compare it kind of to BGP, maybe.
Okay. So, like, what's the purpose of this? Like, what's the purpose of this protocol? Like, what is it communicating? Is it syncing state? Is it state? Like, what? How does?
Okay, so there's many things. Initially, it was like to switch calls to like make a call reach one point to another. So that was the initial goal. The version 7, which is still the one today, was developed in 1975, before the internet.
Yeah, yep.
And we still use it.
Pretty old.
Yeah.
What is that, 45 years old?
Yeah, something like that. So it's used for starting a call, tear down calls, number translation. So it's like if you have a number like in Canada, you can call someone in Europe. So number translation. Local number portability. So this means you can have your number on your cell phone and like move it to a landline.
Okay, okay.
And I've learned that in Europe they cannot do that. A number for cell phones will stay in the cell phone like ecosystem. But in North America we can switch between one another.
So this is like a protocol for talking between, I guess, either between like who are the recipients? Who is speaking on this protocol?
Switches.
Okay.
Or like
whether they're part of like yeah. Okay. So just sure.
Okay. And they're also like doing billing, SMS, pictures.
Oh my god, it sounds so monolithic.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. it was not like there was like extension and variance, and they're not the same across the world. So like the SS7 we talk in North America is not the same as in Europe or like Japan or China.
Well, that's not confusing. Okay, sure. It still sounds very like vague and cryptic to me. Like you say between systems, like I guess it could be in any topology
Yes.
or
Yeah.
okay.
But honestly, it looks like the internet. So like you have your internal network for like Bell, and you communicate with another network.
Okay, but like if you were to put it in the OS like as an OSI in the OSI model as a layer, like is it an application layer thing?
No, it's like 1 to 4 ish.
Okay.
And like all the like I think top 3 one would be like in, they're not really present, but like think about like the 4 first one.
Okay. So if someone's not familiar, what is the OSI model?
You tell me. I didn't prepare that.
I didn't prepare it either, but it is a model, so it's a way to think about things. That's not always accurate, but you can sort of apply to networking in general. And it has different layers. So the first layer is like, I'm not going to go through every layer, but there's like different protocols for these different layers, in that HTTP is built on top of a protocol like TCP. So they're like two protocols, but operating at different layers and them being built on top of one another. And the base layer is like the physical wire and light being emitted through physical medium.
Or like electricity or like waves for like Wi-Fi and things like that.
Right, yeah. Good clarification.
If we go back to SS7, so I was able to find information about SS5 and SS6, but like all the the first 4 ones were kind of not there, though I was able to find a manual from American Telephone and Telegraph Company from 1968, which was talking about SS1. SS1 existed at that point. That's the only thing I know.
That's cool. That's nuts.
Yeah, really. One of the big difference between like SS5 and 6.7 is that SS5 was an in-band signaling. So this means that the signal and the voice were on the same cable or on the same channel. If you remember, I think 3 or 4 episodes ago, we talked about modems and like the noise and the things. So that's exactly what it was. It was on the same channel as the data itself.
Yeah.
So that was SS5. Obviously was prone to attacks and things like that, because you could like synthesize the right sound to send actions to the switch.
I just imagine you on the phone trying to emulate sounds real quick. Beep, boop, beep, beep.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. Do you know about the Captain Crunch whistle?
I know about Captain Crunch and I know about whistles, but not together.
Okay. So back in the days, there was a whistle in some Captain Crunch boxes.
Okay.
And it was making the right wave to like switch your call between places.
That's unbelievable. So I guess that must have been over SS
5
something.
or like
5, yeah.
Before 6.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Nuts. That's amazing. It's the modern version of, hey, LadyTube from Apple, Amazon, or Google. I won't say it to not trigger anyone. But yeah, that's the modern version of that, of the Captain Crunch whistle, is inadvertently saying those words.
Yeah. Interesting thing, I don't remember if I talked about it on the podcast, but when we did the episode on the modems, we had some clips about the sound of the modems, and we got copyright notice on YouTube. That was fun.
Just the modem sounds?
Yeah.
And that's it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that makes no sense, but okay.
Because, I don't know. I'm not an expert, but I'm pretty sure it falls under fair use, but hey, I don't want to challenge that for like 10 people listening to that.
If you're on YouTube, stop and go download the podcast. Go to randomlytype.com. Stop what you're doing.
Make sure they don't remove it. As I said previously, Like ARPANET, which is like the ancestor of the internet, was in the early 70s. So this is much younger. And like it's at the same time as ARPANET, but the internet has started to have like a home connection in like early 90, or way before the internet.
Yeah, of course. Well, like switching was the big like the thing. I guess like telecom companies in general at that time were the technology companies of today.
Signaling protocols before SS7 couldn't transmit too many informations, but the goal of SS7 was to be packet based and like higher throughput. At that point, they were able to starting to add features like call forwarding, voicemail, waiting on call, conference call, or like taking actions while you're talking, which you couldn't do before.
Like craziness that I mean, I'm sure internally it's broken down into a million different sub protocols or subroutines or whatever it is, but this sounds unworkably hard to deal with.
Yeah. And yeah, and as I said, like the layers in America and Europe are not the same. So they need to match somehow or like have translations. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, well, I guess another thing is like if you're on YouTube, stop. If you're calling someone over a telephone network and not over like VoIP or like just over like data, like I guess through like WebRTC or something, I guess also stop. I mean, it works, but it just seems so simple to have. I mean, I guess you don't have phone number, but you have it's the internet. It's the internet age. You have accounts and you know what I mean? Like it just seems very antiquated. The more you speak, the more I'm like realizing how this shouldn't be a thing anymore.
So you want something even better? So the IETF created a protocol over the internet that's called pseudo SS7. It's kind of the same thing, but over the internet rather than over their own wires.
But why though?
I guess it's useful for companies like Twilio and things like that. Or
yeah, okay, sure, that makes sense. But that's like interoperating with old things,
yeah,
I guess.
well, everything is old, man. You need to be able to talk old if you want to be part of the telephone system or whatever it's called.
But not really, right? Like you could like everything you could do with a phone nowadays, you could do over a wireless connection.
Oh, sure. But I mean, if you want to be a company that actually use like telephone technologies, like not.
But why would you want that?
I don't know. To be the next Twilio or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's like
I looked into SS7 because I was interested into the SMS hacking scene because there's a lot of people saying like don't use two-factor authentication with SMS. So honestly, that's why I looked into it. And all of this is over SS7. I feel like it still needs to be there for those kind of things.
Yeah, well, more and more like you'll get the notifications, like the in-app notification, like an app notification instead of an SMS, which is like also, I don't know, in my opinion, better. But
well, it has different trade-offs, right? If, for example, your cell phone burns, you're screwed because you lost your connection.
Yeah, okay, well, make the notification persistent, like attach it to an account of some sort.
Yeah, but if you cannot connect to your account because you need the notification to connect, like you're like in a chicken and egg problem.
Are you though?
Yeah. If you didn't do any backup or like need to call the support, it's kind of a weird situation.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess you have to have at least one device logged in all the time, right? And I guess things like voicemail, like it's a feature and it's there and it's convenient, but it's not something that's exclusive to telephony, right? This could totally exist on the internet. Like you have a telephone account as a SaaS service, and people can leave you voicemails, you know?
Yeah, I guess it wins because it was there before. I think that's the only reason.
Yeah, probably. Another startup, JS. Phones, but on the internet.
That sounds like the worst idea. All right, so now let's go into hacking, because that's what I was interested in too. So over the years, there was a lot of white papers published talking about problems with SS7. And obviously, most of the things were not fixed.
Nice. Good to know.
If there's one thing you need to remember about this episode is that don't use SMS for
don't use
security.
your phone. like, okay, well, maybe before you go into it, practically speaking, unless you're a target, do I need to worry?
Define target.
Like, if you're the target of an attack and someone is actively like hunting you down and trying to hack you specifically, if you're like, I don't know, a president of a country or something, like I could get why you would need to be scared. But like, if you have nothing to hide and nothing to,
So easy. If you have the right connections, it's like incredibly easy. Yes and no. I could see like mass exploitation
okay,
because in SS7 nothing is authenticated. Like the big problem is like someone from the SS7 ecosystem could just send a request to get some information or like just start forwarding calls. So
okay, yeah,
someone in Aaron could say to the bell provider of your cell phone, start forwarding the calls from Lance to my line. That's kind of awkward.
okay, yeah. I guess like they could. Yeah, I guess you're right that like if mass exploitation. Jess, I'm telling you, for telephony
No,
with
I'm not
an
doing that.
account for a SaaS, like
No.
fine.
Initially, SS7 was supposed to connect only trusted peers. But now it's pretty easy to get a connection to SS7, or there's some company that don't protect their connection well enough, or like expose them to the internet and like their connection is not secure, so you can just connect through their connections. And once you're in, you can do pretty much anything. And by anything, I mean know where physically you are, forward call, read SMS, send SMS.
How would they know where you are physically?
It's part of the thing. Because, for example, for your cell phone, to know which cell phone tower they need.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
like,
makes
this
sense.
information is somewhere on the SS7 platform. So, if you are clever enough and you know who to ask, you'll get the information of, like, where is this person right now? If you get a connection to SS7, it's pretty easy to do a map that follows people around for the rest of their life, like interactive map and knows everything all the time.
Do you know if there's any like legal liability on carriers for such things?
I actually don't know. I didn't look into that part, but I know I've seen in many talks, like at DEF CON or like CCC and things like that, like people were just like destroying the thing and getting so much information that they shouldn't be able to get.
Great.
Yeah. And so that's if you get a connection to the SS7, but if you don't get connection to SS7, so like if you're a PD criminal like us, what can you do?
Hey, don't loop me into this.
So one of the attack that we've seen in the last years that's super popular right now is that you call like Bell, you say, hey, I'm Lance and I would like to switch my SIM card to that one. And now if the clerk say yes, then you're done. You lost your two-factor authentication because now all your SMS is going there. And that's a super popular attack.
Yeah, I've heard of that one before.
Yeah, and this one is not even technical. It's just trust, I guess.
Yeah, trust based. Yeah, to convince the person. Well, it's like social engineering. Yeah.
In the last months or year, I'm not sure, like people ask the Canadian big telco and the CRTC to divulge what they're doing against SIM hijacking. And both of those groups just said, no, we won't tell you anything. We don't know if any of our companies or government does anything about it.
Yeah, well, it seems like they're not,
I don't know, maybe they are.
at least to a degree, right?
Yeah, I really dislike this approach of like, we won't tell you because hackers will know. And no, just do it better.
Yeah, well, it's like part obfuscation, but like if they already know, then
yeah,
your obfuscation doesn't work. We should maybe do a full episode on two-factor auth and one-time passwords.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
And that
like time-based and things like that.
Well, there's time-based and like there's like all of the like OTPs and like the separate application
okay, let's put that
because like the notification that I was talking to you about, like all the like I don't know, Google for me because I have an Android phone
and Apple
where like pops up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I figure most of them do that nowadays, which is convenient. But you also did point out the flaw that like you need to have at least one device.
Yeah, that stressed me out a lot. Because in my life, I have at least 2 cell phones that just died. Like no reason, just died. So yeah, you need to be able to connect back to your accounts when that occur.
But like if you had a separate service that you could log into, like I know I use Authy.
Yeah. Did you try to connect another device? You need at least one device active to be able to do that.
No.
Yeah, try it. Okay, honestly, try it because you need to learn.
What do you mean you need to learn?
Do it. You'll see.
I feel like I've done it before, but maybe not.
Because they ask you like to on their app to authenticate the new connection and things like that. There's like a dance.
Well, let's do an episode about this too.
Cool.
Because I'm very kind of I'm curious. It feels like I just don't know much about how it works, and I feel like I should.
So let's put that on the to-do list.
Cool.
All right. So I have one last attack, which is not directly SS7, but that's interesting. So the way a cell phone communicate with towers nowadays is by using temporary numbers. And so they do that to be sure to not expose who's connected to the tower. So it's saying like ABCD is here right now. Or like the tower could yell like, where is ABCD? Things like that. But the problem with that is that those temporary numbers can be traced back if you're connected to SS7. So if you're a government, for you, those temporary numbers, you can just ask like Bell, hey, who's this temporary number? And they will tell you, oh, it's Lance. And theirs is full name and all the information.
And but I guess like if they're temporary, like I guess it means that like I don't know how this works, but do they have like a list of everyone's previous temporary
not necessarily,
numbers,
but like let's say the government wants to find you. They can just have like a sniffer and just ask directly Bell, who's that? Who's that? Who's that?
Okay, yeah.
When you're connected to SS7, you can always know who's around you all the time.
I suppose that if you have a person, you don't have their temporary number, but if you have a temporary number and you're in SS7, you can find the person.
Exactly.
Okay.
And start any attack afterward when you know who it is. You can start listening to their SMS. You can start tracking their position.
Yeah, and I figure you could like brute force all the temporary numbers that are.
No. If you don't have access to SS7, it's a good thing. So
No. Sorry, but I meant like if you do have access to SS7 and you wanted to find the whereabouts of one individual.
Oh no, you just ask. Nothing is authenticated. You just ask Bill.
No, but
who's that?
Is it a one-way thing where you're like, okay, I have a billion temporary numbers and I want to find this one individual?
Yeah.
Like, I assume you just go through all of them.
Yeah.
Right?
So you just send, as you receive them, you send them to Bell or whoever until they tell you.
Yeah. Cool.
So if you can get something out of this episode is...
throw away your cell phone.
No. Is that like when you see like in shitty spy movies, things about cell phones, it's actually true.
Yeah.
And it's easier than what you would see in movies.
Yeah, you gotta wonder if I guess like you mentioned before with like at least Canadian telecom companies aren't willing to divulge whatever's like what's happening with regards to that. Clearly there's some legal responsibility. You don't like allow when you sign up for a telephone plan, you don't like allow them to publicly broadcast your location.
Well, they're not broadcasting it, but if you're connected to SS7, which is pretty easy to do, you could ask all the time, where is that person?
Well, but that's sort of what I mean, in that like, they didn't take the steps necessary to avoid it being publicly broadcasted.
But you can't really, because you would break protocols.
Then move to the internet. That's what I'm trying to say.
Sure,
man.
But do you want to trash your cell phone and stop using it?
Like... it is unfathomable to me to think that there is no other solution.
Okay, as a user, there's no solution. It's as a planet and like protocol evolving. Because right now, there's new protocols.
So maybe tell me about the new protocols.
Yeah, but they're all backward compatible.
Okay, great. But this is what I'm saying. Like, if you're a company that is offering a service, a telephony service that is based on like broken, like very clearly broken and compromised things, it's still like your responsibility for providing that service, right?
I see what you're saying, but in the real world right now, it's not how it works.
But I mean, sure, but only because it's hard to move off this protocol, right? But still, like...
No, the real reason is because the government doesn't put enough pressure. Like if the government were to tell all those companies to like, yo, if you do your thing wrong, we'll jail you all of your worker. It's like, I don't know, like some crazy things. Like they would fix it.
Yeah, well, this is like, I don't know. In my opinion, if it's as easy as you say it is, it's like,
Well, it's not easy.
or like,
it would be like years of like Armageddon and of like telephones not working.
No, but what I mean is if it's easy to get a connection, as easy to get a connection to SS7 as you say it is, that's like negligence in my view, right? Like, which in any other scenario you'd be like legally liable for, but not this one apparently. You know what I mean? Like it's like, okay, well, if I offer a service which, like, okay, example, not exactly the same, but like if I have a company that offers the service of selling you shoes, but I don't know, like I use child labor or something. Like I'm legally, like I did that crime, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing for a telephony company. They're like, oh, I'm giving you a cell phone as a service, but I'm using this super insecure protocol and I'm exposing it on the internet and not doing my job to secure it.
But even if you don't expose it yourself, if anyone on the planet exposed it, is as soon as you can connect to one of the SS7 nodes, you pwn the rest of the planet.
Well, even worse then. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I guess it's your like legal duty, and in my opinion, should be your obligation to not use that protocol.
I agree with you, but we wouldn't have telephone.
JS, it's time for our startup.
Okay, Lance. Okay, I guess we said all we had to say here, but I agree with you. But it's not how it works. Honestly, I linked in the show note one of the video I based my thing on, and it's creepy.
Well, let's arm the rebels, JS. Let's head out onto the streets and tell people to use WebRTC.
Yeah, but the thing is that you will always have your cell phone in your pocket.
Yeah, but there's no reason that your cell phone can't use a different protocol, right?
Well, yes, because
it's just there because it was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but
yeah, okay. In theory, you're right, but in practice, you're wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, like, sure. I agree.
Go look like at the first 10 minutes of the video.
Okay. Well, no, I will, but like, I still can't believe that no one's like done anything about this.
There's some people complaining. There's some government complaining, but at the end, it doesn't change anything.
But that no telecom company is not actively trying to get away from this.
But why would they care? As long as we don't send them to prison, they don't care. They make money.
Okay, well, we'll save that for a separate episode. All
right, it's time to stop rambling. But
okay, cool.
There you go. That was my supposed to be quick episode on SS7, which is really not quick.
Yeah, I know.
We're at 43 minutes before it is.
There were definitely a lot of rants, though. So it was worthwhile.
Yeah. All right. So what's the next one, Lance?
One-time passwords.
Oh, it's official?
Let's do it.
All right. So I guess we'll be doing one-time passwords.
And not, well, I mean, I guess we can cover the one-time pad too.
Yeah,
like
all
from
those.
An encrypt.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All those cool things.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Wait, actually, I think we already did cover the one-time pad. We did a full encryption series.
Shit.
It's definitely in there.
All right, let's read our show notes, our old show notes first.
Yeah.
And if we
so one-time pad we'll skip.
Wait.
But just generally like two-factor authentication and how it works and what to do if you get locked out, if your cell phone blows up and you're not logged into anything else and you don't want to use SMS.
Okay, so we did history of symmetric crypto systems, asymmetric crypto system and digital signing, applied cryptography and security. What? We did 3 episodes? Okay, I'll go read the show notes and we'll see.
So it might not be that then. Maybe we'll stop boring the people with all this crypto stuff.
Nah, I don't care. It's our show.
There are other things, right?
No, it's our show. We do whatever we want.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, JS, for making me mad.
My pleasure. All right.
Cool.
Thank
you. Cool. Yeah. Thanks again, and see you next time.
See you.
Bye, listeners.
This podcast is both free and free. as it's distributed under the Creative Commons.
You can contact us and find show notes on our website, randomlytyped.com.
The intro music is by Vansky.
Thank you, Vensky.
And thank you, listener, for indulging us.